Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, where today we've reached F. So we're going to do a flight simulator, specifically F29 Retaliator, which was a 1989 release from Digital Image Design, or DID, as you can see there, published by Ocean. As you can see there, that was well timed, wasn't it? This was developed at the tail end of the Cold War, and it was designed to be a sort of speculative piece on the future of air combat, whereas a lot of flight simulators tended to focus on historical conflicts or stuff that was happening reasonably in the present at the time. This was designed to be a look at the potential future of war. And at the time this game was created, the planes involved existed, but they weren't in active service. So this game features two different planes, one of which is the F29, as the title suggests, or actually specifically, it features the Grumman X29, which only saw test flights between 1984 and 1991 and never entered active service. I believe there are only like 3 or 4 in the world. And the other plane that is simulated in this, which did enter active service, is the F22, which entered service in December of 2005. So, let's have a look at how this plays. This is not a game I've played before previously, so I have no experience of how this plays compared to, say, Microprose stuff. I'm not super familiar with DID stuff in general. I played a bit of EF2000 on a PC that was way too slow to handle it. And I always wanted to play TFX because of the incredible Barry Leach soundtrack more than anything else. But I've never actually played this one. I was always curious though. So here we are, input name Pete. We have to be this guy with the moustache. I don't believe you can change your appearance. No, you can't. You can change your rank at the top. Interestingly, the manual states that it's up to you to decide when you deserve a promotion. So rank is basically just difficulty level. You don't rank up by performing well in missions or anything like that. You change your own rank when you decide you're good and ready for it. So, let's stick with First Lieutenant for the moment because I'm a newbie. And press OK. And you then choose your war theatre. So we've got 4 theatres of war to choose from here. We've got the American Desert, which is a training scenario. The Middle East conflicts, because that was a fixture in flight sims at the time. And if they were still a thing these days, I'm sure it still would be. The Pacific scenario and the European battleground. Now, none of these are specifically real wars or conflicts. Indeed, in the case of the Pacific and the European ones, they're sort of speculative things. The Middle East one might have a hint of truth about it, but yeah, these are purely fictitious. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with the American Desert one, the training mission. And yeah, so we go from choose your scenario, just lets you choose the theatre of war again. We go to mission control, I think. 7. So we select which plane we want to fly. We decide if we want to fly the F22 or the F29. Let's go with the F22 for the moment. Do number 4, choose a mission. And you'll see here it says refer to manual. Now, there's no mission briefings in the game for this. They're all listed in the manual. They're all fairly simplistic. So there is a sort of ongoing narrative of sorts in the sort of all-out war scenarios, but most of it is in the manual, and it just tells you what you're supposed to do. So we'll have a go at just the first Arizona mission, which according to the manual is to hit the 2 canvas targets in Sector 7B. So we'll choose mission number 1. Then we select our base, which should bring up a map of the area. Yes, here we are. So Sector 7B is this one, I think. If I just look at the map that I've got here. Yes, no. Here, I think. So this is the airbase closest to it. So if we click on here, disused airbase used for target practice, unselectable. So we can't start from there. We can start from Monument Valley over there. Or we could start from Groom Lake, which is a small regional airstrip. Let's start from this because it's marginally closer. and then press OK. And then select our armaments. So we're doing a ground attack mission here, so we want to load up with something suitable for attacking ground targets, like Mavericks. Click mouse pointer on weapon to choose. Left button to select weapon, right button to deselect weapon. Right, there we are. Maverick AGM-1 air to surface missile. We have 2 targets to destroy. Let's take 4 of those. This one is CSW's conventional standoff weapon. Can't remember what that does. Cruise missiles, probably overkill. Powerful cruise missiles and fuel pods. So hopefully 4 Mavericks will be enough to do the job here. Then what do we do? Exit, I guess. Okay, then accept mission. And that should put us on the landing strip, ready to go. After a short loading break, with some rather nice background graphics. Okay, here we are. So press Q key to quit mission, and we hit the plus button to start. Let's take the brakes off first. Do we hit the plus button? Do we have to turn engine on first? How do I turn the engine on? Let me look at the key commands. Autopilot, change target lock, super cruise. There's no engine button, I don't think. Let's try the numeric keypad. There we go. Alright. We should start rolling. Pull up. Oop. God, that's sensitive. And put the gear up. Gosh, that accelerates quickly. Okay, we now have to find our way to Sector 7B, which is to the northwest. So our central multifunction display is showing us a moving map, as you can see. So we'll use that as a guide. And the green line that is emanating from our current position shows us where we are. I'll turn a little bit to the left. Probably slow down a bit as well. A little bit more to the left. Press enter to select our missiles. It looks like in the training scenario we actually didn't have to worry about our weapons layout too much, because it seems it's given us a default weapons layout. Now we're heading roughly in the right direction now. Let's lose some altitude so we can actually see what's going on the ground. Hopefully, eventually, we should be able to spot the targets that we're after. These joystick controls are very sensitive, particularly on the pitch. They feel quite nice on the roll, but yeah, the pitch is very sensitive indeed. Now, our target should be around here somewhere. Oh no, a little bit further to go, I think. Let me just check the map. Yeah, it's in the sector to the west of this road we're just coming up on. Not this one you can see out the front window, but the next one on the map. So next road we cross, the target should be around there somewhere. Oh, it actually tells you what sector you're in on the head-up display. That's good. There's one thing I was worried about reading the manual for this was it didn't say anything about navigation. And so I was wondering exactly how you were supposed to get from place to place, because there's no waypoint system. There is an autopilot, but it doesn't say anything about that taking you directly to where you're supposed to be going. Whoop, too slow. Quite a big impact this one notch on the throttle has as well. Not a lot of ground detail going on, but the screen update is very smooth, which is nice. Always good for this kind of thing. Let's just hope we can see our targets when they're nearby. Hopefully. Oh, is that them there? I think that might be them. Yeah, there we go. We got a lock. And let's hit T to target the other one. Kaboom! Some lovely digitized sounds. Well done, Commander. Alright, so I guess now we have to go fly back to base. Which, according to the map, is in sector 5G. We point ourselves in that direction. Let's bump up the speed a bit. Return to base. It's a shame we don't have a digitized engine sound, but that wasn't unusual for the time. The only flight sim I remember playing that actually had a digital engine sound was Falcon, I think. And the engine sound in that, the pitch didn't change as you changed your throttle. So whereas in this you can hear the level your engine's set at. In Falcon you just had this constant sort of rumbling in the background. Okay, there's the airbase. So let's try and do a proper approach. Probably need to climb down to below 10,000 feet. Now, not a ton of realism going on in this, as you can probably see, because we're in a dive and the airspeed isn't increasing. That's quite in keeping with what I came to expect from DID with stuff like TFX, because TFX was regarded as quite arcadey as well. It even went so far as to have a sort of G-Lock style zooming into the cockpit animations, which I won't lie, were one of the main reasons I wanted to play that game, because I loved G-Lock as a kid. Alright, let's throttle down a bit. Lose some height. But yeah, no change in airspeed according to your pitch. That feels like a sort of basic thing they should have probably addressed. But at the same time, this was never positioned as a super realistic game. This was never intended to be like a nerd's flight simulator. This was supposed to be an accessible flight sim for everyone, which explains Ocean releasing it. They were not a company known for sort of simulations and realistic games. They were primarily known for sort of movie licenses, if anything. Let's put the gear down and get away with losing a bit more speed. We can. And some flaps. Which don't feel like they're having any effect. Just a little to the right. And then we'll straighten up. Time to straighten up. Whoops. Wobbly wobbly. This should hopefully be a nice smooth landing. The altitude warning light has come on in the middle of the cockpit. Caution, you're very low. Yes, I know, I'm trying to land. And we're down. Rescue to mission. Okay. I press Q. There we go. Right, that wasn't so bad. Mission complete. Well done. You landed okay. Score 120. Yeah, one of the things the rank does is you get more points per mission and per target and so on. If you want higher scores, you play in the higher ranks. But of course, that makes the game more difficult. I don't know if it makes the flight model more realistic. Actually, that might be interesting to try at some point. For the moment... What do we do here? Anything? Yes. To save your current log and statistics, please rate enable disk 1, put the rate protect tab so you cannot see through it and press return. If you do not wish to save your current log, please press the escape key. We won't save for now. Okay, let's return to main menu. Let's choose our scenario and let's go to the Middle East. And pick a mission. Or update, Middle East, Friday the 13th of December 2002. This came out in, what did we say, 1989? So the far future. The two Arab nations of Syria and Egypt, so fictional sort of countries, have launched a surprise attack on our country with fierce tank battles in the southwest and southeast. There are also thousands of enemy troops utilising heavy aerial assault. Support, even. Right, what other missions we have on offer here? Let's have a look. Oh, I printed out the wrong pages. Okay, let's return to the main menu, choose our scenario. I actually printed out the Pacific scenario, so let's have our war update from that instead. A military blockade by the enemy fleet has cut off all support to the islands, cutting off vital oil supplies. A task force from Guam is steaming towards the war zone. Hold out against mounting enemy activity until reinforcements arrive. Alright, let's choose a mission. So we have 4 missions to choose from in this first stage of the war. The way each of the campaigns work is there's several sort of milestones along the way, and they each have a war update with a little bit of story. And you have a choice of missions in each part. So our choice here is number 1, Scramble. That's 2 bandits have been located in Sector 4D, engage and destroy. Firebolt is the enemy has launched an aerial attack on the oil refinery in Sector 8D, repel the enemy and destroy at least 3 fighters. Number 3 is Drop In. An enemy battleship has been detected in Sector 4G. Launch a surprise attack using MS-RAM missiles, avoiding its radar network, and destroy the battleship. Number 4, Plunge. Hit the enemy oil storage depot on the island of Zahiti in Sector 1D. Let's go with Scramble, because we haven't done any air combat yet. Let's go for that. Select our plane. Let's try the F29 this time. Let's select our base. So 2 bandits have been located in Sector 4D, which is about here. So can we go from there? Yes, we can. Okay, let's go from there because that's closest. Okay, and then choice. Oh no, that's choice of missions again. Choice of armament, number 3. So we want to load up with air-to-air missiles this time. So our choices here, we have the AIAAM Firebolt, long-range fire and forget. We have AMRAAMs, which are medium-range fire and forget. AIM-9MRs, which are your traditional sidewinders, short-range sidewinders. ASRAAMs, which are advanced short-range missiles. Backwinders, which fire backwards, which is ridiculous. I don't know if that's a real thing, but just the idea of shooting missiles behind you is just hilarious to me. Let's take a couple of the long-range ones and 4 of the sidewinders. That should hopefully be enough. We've only got 2 planes to shoot down, so hopefully that will be plenty. So let's exit this screen and accept the mission. Welcome to USAF Solomos. That's where we're taking off from. Lovely artwork in this game. The 2D art, I mean. Right, take the brakes off. Engage the throttle. Pull up. Put the gear up. And get airborne. Right, so we're already facing south, so that should take us directly to where we need to go. Let's switch to our long-range missiles and see if we can take them out from a distance. Some height, 10,000 feet. Well, I can see them on the threat display over on the right. Hopefully they should pop up on the... Oh, there they are. Oh god, they're shooting at us already. Major structural damage. That's not a good start, is it? I think my radar's broken. This is not a good way to start this mission, is it? Where are you? Yeah, that's broken. Cool. so that's real nice. Now I can't find them. We're in sector 4D, so hopefully they're staying around that area. Let's hope the threat display can pick them up. There they are. That farting noise, I think, is them trying to lock onto me. Hell are they? Oh, there's one. Ooh. Back out from high G's. Oh, hello. Let's switch to the short range missile, shall we? Let's lose some speed. Might even be a job for the guns. Nice. Well, I didn't take him down. That was just a hit. Come here. It's a lot of explosion effects for just a hit on them. Oh, is he going down? It looks like he's going down. Splash one lizard. Not bad for no radar. There's the other one. Let's get him. This is not how I envisaged this this encounter going, but I'll take what we can. We're doing it World War I style. Where are you? There you are. And he's going down. Alright, we got him. So now we limp home with our major structural damage, I guess. That's too slow. We should have some different views as well. There's our rear view. Side views. God, that's so sensitive. Then we have a satellite view, I think. Yep. And then we've got the usual internal and external views you can switch between. I believe you can turn the cockpit off as well. Oh, that just turns the displays off in the cockpit. That gets you a slightly better frame rate. But I mean, the frame rate in this isn't bad anyway. I'm not sure why you would want to specifically turn off the helpful information. There's the island. There it is. Popping into existence. Now where's the runway? That's the real question. There is the runway. Hello? I'm gonna need to land. There it is. Let's pop the gear and the flaps down. That's because we're going slow enough to use them at the minute. Neither of those appear to have any effect on your flight model at all. So what we'll do after this is we'll just try one of the training missions on the hardest difficulty level and see if that affects the flight model at all. Because it also seems that despite us choosing our loadout at the beginning, we have infinite ammunition in First Lieutenant mode as well. Which I guess sort of makes sense as the beginner level. So you very much can play it as a sort of arcadey flight game. Although the enemy damage was pretty unforgiving, bearing that in mind. Having my radar blown out straight away. Oh, hello, rest of runway. Nice of you to join us. And preparing for touchdown. Excuse me, knocking the camera around. And there we are. Rescue to end mission. Pop the brakes on. And we are done. Very nice. You landed okay. Got 1,920 points for that. Pretty good. Right. So let's return to the main menu, and then I think you go enroll to US Air Force. And then, right, let's go to Colonel. So at this point, if we'd saved our game, we would load our pilot up and then change his difficulty to Colonel. And then go, okay. And then choose your scenario. American Desert. Mission Control. Choice of missions. Let's just do the ground attack one again. So select plane. Let's take the F29. Didn't notice the difference between them, but again, that might be a thing is more apparent on the higher difficulty levels. Select armament. Let's take just 4 Mavericks again, and that should do the job. Exit, and then accept mission. Monument Valley, Arizona. So what I'm looking for here is more realism to the flight model. It doesn't actually say anything about that in the manual, but that's what I'm hoping for with this higher difficulty level. Let's see. Right, off the ground. And let's get pointing in the right direction. I'd say one thing this game does seem to do quite well, that often flight sims of this era didn't do brilliantly, is the feeling that you're actually going pretty fast. Because in a lot of cases, the sims were set up that they sort of graphical fidelity was placed over performance. Not to a degree that they were unplayable or anything like that, and certainly not to a degree that the graphics were impressive by modern standards, but a lot of them would say that, oh, you're travelling at 700 knots, and it didn't feel like that. And that's something that even some later PC games struggled a bit with. Whereas this, I know there's not a lot of scenery, but you look at the speed it's moving, it is pretty convincing that you're moving fast. Right, we're in 6B now, so let's turn to the north. There's our targets, I think. Let's lose some speed. Whoa, way too fast. Oh, hello, too slow. Oh, too close. Definitely too close, so we're going to have to turn around and come around for another pass on those. Alright, let's just see. If we pull the nose back, do we lose some speed? We do not. That's unfortunate. That's a shame. Because that's the thing that a lot of other sims did, is they adjusted the realism of the flight model based on the difficulty level that you were playing at. Doesn't appear that this does that, which is a pity. But again, sort of understandable. Because this game wasn't taking aim at the hardcore sim head. This game was aiming specifically... Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. This game was aiming specifically for those who maybe didn't have quite as much experience with flight sims, who wanted to fly a plane but didn't necessarily want to deal with all the technical gubbins that often came with that. I'll tell you one thing we are getting is the higher you go, the higher your maximum speed. So you'll see here we're dropping down and our maximum speed drops accordingly. That's a little touch of realism there. Oh god, we're also burning through fuel way more quickly on this difficulty level. So that's something to bear in mind. Yes, we might actually not make it at this rate. Let's lose some of this speed. We're not far from base. So hopefully shouldn't be too much of a problem. I wonder if landings are more difficult, less forgiving. I guess we're about to find out. Coming around on the base now. Oh, a little bit too far. Let's lose some speed and some altitude. There's our base. The gear and the flaps down. Still no impact on our airspeed, so not even sure why the flaps are there, because they don't appear to do anything. I wonder if it does something like adjust the sensitivity of the pitching or something. Certainly doesn't seem to have any impact on your airspeed or indeed the lift, and we're critical fuel. Nearly down. Lovely gentle landing. And we're done. Okay, 600 points for that. Yeah, we got like 150 for that on the first lieutenant difficulty level. So you do get a significantly larger number of points for playing on colonel difficulty, even on super easy missions like that. Anyway, okay, I think that's enough to sort of get a feel for what that's all about. It's not bad. It's pretty fun. It's quite fun to fly. Like I said, the sense of speed is really nice. The frame rate is nice. The cockpit graphics are really nice. The outside detail is a bit lacking, but that's nothing unusual for a flight sim of the era. I think definitely what this was clearly going for was accessibility. And it is pretty accessible, aside from, like I say, one, the sort of aggressiveness of the enemy planes, judging by that one mission we did. And two, the necessity for sort of manual navigation. I would have thought if they were going for a sort of futuristic future of air combat angle, they would have put some sort of computerized waypoint system in. Because the reason I say that is because there were flight sims for things like the F-15 from Microprose that did have that did have waypoints and little lines on the map for you to follow and such like. So it's surprising that that's not in here, and it expects you to look up things on the maps that are in the manual and then cross-reference that with what you see on screen. But at least it does give you things like the grid reference of where you are as part of the head-up display, which is useful. So yeah, not bad. I would be interested to sort of play that a little bit more and see how the unfolding war narrative goes and how that's presented, and if there's any sort of end sequence for successfully finishing one of the wars in the game. But yeah, I think what we've seen today is hopefully fairly representative of what the game as a whole has to offer. Like I say, if you're not sort of into super hardcore heavy duty flight sims, then this may be worth a look if you are interested in the idea of flying a plane, but you don't want anything too complicated to have to learn. Not that I ever felt that things like Microprose Sims and even Falcon I played as a kid. I was playing Falcon as like a 10-year-old and quite comfortably getting along with it. So yeah, I guess it's specifically for the type of person who finds even that sort of thing a bit too much to handle. Because it is accessible and it works well. But I think hardcore flight sim heads might be craving a little bit more in the way of realism, might be craving a little bit more in the way of depth generally. But those people would probably be playing games based on real aircraft anyway, rather than purely hypothetical and or experimental ones as they are in this. So yeah, I think this is successful at what it was aiming to do, which is great. So that was F29 Retaliator for Atari ST. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.